And so now the first arc is over, what happens next? Well, we get 2,000 gold, 200,000, 20,000 gold. Because our next destination is to get a ship and sail to the mainland to retake our kingdom. As the Weltese Resilient Alliance. Definitely better sounding than the League of A's. Before we move on, let's go ahead and buy some more pylums, because pylums are amazing. Okay, so he says that's not a weapon for you if you can't use that weapon type, but if you can, but you don't have enough mastery, he says you aren't skilled enough to use that weapon yet. That's pretty interesting. And yeah, when you're on the map, you can actually buy things directly for the convoy. I think that's probably more than enough. Though I think I'll get one steel sword for Vega, because I'm gonna want one of those on him later. Just something that's powerful, but isn't, you know, a legendary weapon that... So I don't have to use it on chumps, like I've said before. Iron shields can be kind of nice. We are gonna get one in the chest very soon, though. So Sasha can grab one of those already. That's enough messing around with the inventory. Because the moment we leave the city, some pretty significant developments in the story are going to happen. Where we last left off, Rudin had liberated the island of Welt, but before he went out to Welt in the first place, our other hero was on the Isle of Esora fighting pirates. Now we're gonna see what he was doing in the meantime. Seems like he was successful in driving out those pirates. Yeah, that guy. He was kind of a chump. I doubt we'll ever be seeing him again. Haven't seen you before, though. Yeah, just, I'll remember this. Just exactly what that other bandit boss said. The music playing right now is Holmes' theme, it's just called Ocean. Privateers were essentially government-sanctioned pirates. They were directly hired by particular countries to fight enemy vessels on the seas. Now, if you've been following my channel semi-recently, you might recognize this as the actually properly translated version of a certain conversation. As I thought, they are pirates. Well, clearly we've got someone with a bit better social skills here. Okay, so no amnesia or anything, but just somebody who doesn't know where they came from. Okay, so you get different facial expressions too. The Temple of Mars was quite a popular destination. Yeah, seems like Enter wanted to be left under Eisenbach's protection too. Preventing a great catastrophe. Well, it seems like this red-haired girl might be connected to that blue-haired girl, Enter, that we've met before. And just like Enter, people are being very vague about why these girls may be important. Yes, this bracelet is everything of me. Well, I mean, you did just basically try and grab her greatest treasure out of nowhere, and after admitting to being essentially pirates, so you can see why she's on edge. I like the interactions and banter Holmes' crew have. Oh, I wish she was finished looting the pirate's treasure. That's gonna be a bit of an issue coming up. Unfortunately, she has to. So yeah, Holmes is kind of a jerk. I mentioned earlier that he's a meme lord, but for different reasons to Claude. Holmes is just kind of a funny jerk, is how I describe him, at least at this point in the game. He has pretty much no tact at all. Given the katakana, I pronounce this uni. But oh great, it's the JY pronunciation issue again, which people got really mad at me for back in Awakening. In my defense, at the time, we did not, Tharja's name was never said in voice acting. So, yeah, I was... people get really, surprisingly passionate about name pronunciations. It's kind of... Anyway. Not to get into that yet, because Holmes noticed a significant plot point on this girl's person. Let's just keep moving, because as we keep moving, we'll get more and more cutscenes. Well, I mean, you know, she's made more progress than most people have met Captain Jack Sparrow, because she's actually calling him Captain off the bat. Oh, you'll see why Holmes is calling this creepy when I show its picture in the menu. It is definitely creepy. So yeah, maybe arm staff. Yeah, that's her foster father you're talking about. No, he's just being normal. After all, you are so airheaded, you are getting on his nervous. Just that line is just gonna stick with me so much. I'm probably one of the very few people who played the early fan translation of this. And in the early fan translation, this chapter was actually properly translated. Like, this was all really good. It's just when this scene was flashed back to later on, I don't even know if that's a proper verb, but, like, there's a flashback to that scene later on, and, the flashback must have been translated separately because, after Chapter 8, that's the point where the translation, like, the original translation fell apart pretty badly. So it turns out what Holmes was saying was actually literally true. It will summon a bunch of zombies in one turn, which is against the rules, isn't it? Salia's where the Pegasus Knights are from, it seems. Guess it was a summoning staff. Yeah, bit of a typo there. So summoning staves, there aren't a lot of people who can actually use those. As I showed earlier, Enter doesn't learn the summon skill until level 30, and there's really no way she's getting there in an average playthrough. But, yeah, the premise of this battle is honestly kind of funny. It happens because Katri just waved about a zombie summoning staff a lot, thinking that it would resurrect someone, and then the whole island became infested with zombies, so whoops. Yep, Katri just created a zombie apocalypse by mistake. Katri is, she's something. She's a weird character. Like, I'm not really sure that she's my favorite character in this game. It's just mostly because I'm not really sure exactly how much of her ridiculous naivety is meant to be played for comedy, and like how much of it is actually meant to be sincere. Like, I mean, as in, like, they really wanted you to feel, like, for her. And I mean, I do feel bad for what happened to her father and all that, but Katri is, we'll just say, like, she is naive to the absolute extreme, and we will see more and more of that as we go through the story. Holmes. But, like, again, the game does play it for laughs quite a lot. In general, I find that Holmes' party is just... They have a very different dynamic to Runan's party. Runan's crew are very much like a typical Fire Emblem, like medieval fantasy war story party. Holmes' party feel more like a JRPG party. All of them kind of act like they've known each other for a while, like they have no trouble being casual with each other, they'll banter. They're interesting. But yeah, we've got a whole bunch of revenants here. Interestingly, their fists count as axes. And they also have no weight, but thankfully 0 speed, so they still have 0 AS. And also Entombed, which have 0 stats in everything but Mastery. But they do give a lot of experience, just like Entombed normally do, despite their low score stat. Because of the weak enemies and the Entombed, this is a great chapter for training people. So, let's move! I'd imagine that, like, Runan and company are sailing over the ocean and suddenly they just, like, can hear the zombies growling from all over, like, from just, you know, the ship. Chapter 8, Fire Incarnate. That's interesting. I guess we'll see what that means. So, this map. There's a whole bunch of revenants and also Entombed. We also have 2 people, actually 3 characters starting out here, and all of them are playable from the beginning. I'll go into their bios eventually. This map is considered Frontier. The Frontier maps harken back to the Duma-occupied territory in Gaiden. They have swamps that drastically slow you down and hurt your HP every turn, but they can't kill you, thankfully. Also this frontier terrain here. Now, I said earlier that Frontiersman is, in my opinion, the best terrain skill in the game, and that's because not only are there a lot of frontier maps in the game, but most of them are extremely annoying and tedious, so the +1 movement really helps getting through them faster, but also Frontiersman has an additional effect. It prevents you from taking damage in swamps. Now, our objective is to seize the fort up here, and if that's all you want to do, this map is very simple. Unfortunately, there's a problem. You see, there's a whole lot of chests on this map. Some of them are in the middle of annoying, dense terrain. These chests contain some pretty good items, like leathern swords and iron shields. And Uni is the only one who can open them at this point. So, she has to trudge all over the entire map, getting every chest one by one. On the possible plus side, they do keep you busy with a lot of reinforcements in this chapter. So, like, you have stuff to do while she's running around getting the chests, but this map does go on for a very, very long time. And it is kind of frustrating that it works like that. So anyway, I'm just going to choose pick who to bring here. No Tom. By the way, Tom can't go in swamps at all with his movement and with his horrible movement costs on those terrain. Like, I don't really need Raffin at all. Sasha, though. Sasha's going to be quite fun here. In fact, I kind of want to bring Sasha up there, maybe. Zeeg, Vega's fine. I don't think I need Bart's, though. So if there's anybody that you want to train, you probably want to bring them to this map because of the Entombed. In fact, like, I know Roger's better, but I kind of want to bring Christ here just because I'm going to need to train him a bit later. Although, admittedly, like, it's not super necessary that you train in this map, because after this map is over, you'll also have access to some pretty easy training. So we only get to deploy 10 people, but we've got 3 more in addition to that. You know, it's weird. This is really dumb, but I kind of want to leave out Naren because he's already pretty over-leveled. I think having an extra healer might be handy here. Let's begin. Okay, good. Sasha started pretty far forward this time. I don't have the deployment slots memorized here. Oh yeah, and Raquel can kill monsters, so she can get some good experience in this chapter. And this is just kind of annoying. So as you can see there, Holmes and this guy just deployed on the map. Yeah, I'm sure the description you're looking for is just ugly. Again, Holmes' party has really good dialogue. And then they both just leave. Which is weird because if Holmes was here, he has lock touch, so he could open the chests and make this map go by a lot faster. I don't know why they don't give you Holmes at this point. So she just went in the middle of a swamp, as you do. Of a toxic swamp. I mean, I'd normally say, like, why would you do that? But again, like, Katri is not exactly the smartest of people. You wait until now to object? They've been friends for a long time, as he's just saying here. Yeah, let's visit him. And, hope that the, you know, island that he's on isn't overrun with zombies. Oh, wait. We have Xeno and Uni here. I'm gonna hold off on giving Katri's bio for now, but I will just say that, we can move her. And the zombies aren't really a massive threat or anything. In fact, she has this, and, like, as you can see, it's like a staff with eyes. Yeah, no wonder Holmes called this creepy. If she uses this, she can make a creepy sound, and she summoned an Entombed. That's actually kind of rare, so for the first summoning, that's pretty lucky. However, they're useless because we can't kill them for experience, and they have worse stats than regular revenants. But yeah, that'll summon a bunch of allied zombies that will keep these other zombies occupied. Unlike in, like with, Sacred Stones, that's the word I'm looking for. Unlike Sacred Stone summoners, though, you can't control them. They're green units. They work a little bit more like guidance summoners. But anyway, we have Xeno. Xeno is a character who I personally really like, and who used to get highly praised by the community, who is looked on a lot less favourably as a unit now. Don't be fooled by him starting at level 1, his base stats aren't that bad for this point in the game, and in this chapter he can very easily get some kills and level up, and once he does, he has some really good growth by this game's standards. He also learns a great set of skills. In particular, Seafarer and Slayer are very useful for Holmes' party. He has some decent supports with Holmes' early characters too. The main problem with him is that he's an on-foot sword-locked unit, which makes him outclassed by Vega and another Swordmaster we'll be getting soon, and that also means he suffers from serious competition for Heroes Crests. Personally, I think if you have a Hero's Crest to spare, there are definitely worse people you could use one on. He just lacks a busted personal weapon like some other sword users. And Uni. Uni is our first thief, and she's pretty much pure thief utility. She opens doors and chests, and opening chests is something we're gonna really need very soon. Besides that, they tried to give Uni some other niches, but I personally think they failed. She has the Steal skill, which gives her a speed plus skill % chance of stealing an item from any enemy she attacks. But with how awful her HP, strength, and defense bases are, and the growth in those areas, in particular, she has 1 base strength and a 0% growth, she really shouldn't be getting anywhere near combat. I mean, she technically has an okay magic growth for a physical unit, which means she could use Levin swords, and if you somehow get her to level 35, she gets Charisma, which would give her great support utility, but good luck getting her there, seriously. That also requires using an occult book, and yeah, I don't think that's worth it. Just stick to opening chests with her. And so, yeah, they're probably gonna need to, or by they, I mean Xeno's probably gonna take that. Actually, no, actually, I can probably have Martel as my designated de-zombifier for this point. Oh yeah, their defense is like nothing. The Foul Fist being considered axes would probably matter if there was Weapon Triangle, but there isn't. These things are not worth a lot of experience, but there are quite a lot of them. Now, people might get mad at me for this, but I'm actually going to send Xeno this way. Because, as I've said in his bio, I actually like using him, and he starts at level 1, but his bases aren't that bad for this point in the game, so he can kill these zombies decently easily, and he levels up off of them pretty quickly, and gets even stronger. Down in this bottom right-hand corner of the map, there's going to be reinforcements, including Entombed eventually. Now, this is the place that I was alluding to earlier, that makes it really easy to train Sasha. If Sasha is not promoted by now, speaking of that, actually, if Sasha's... I'm not even sure if I want her to get that Entombed, honestly, but I guess she can get this one. So, if Sasha is not promoted by now, you should probably send her to that lower corner of the map and have her just fight the zombies and Entomb there. She can level up pretty easily off of them, and that'll get her promoted decently easily. But like even then, it's not the end of the world if you get a ton of experience in this map, because after this map, experience is going to be pretty plentiful. So this is the point where Sasha starts to go a bit crazy, as you can probably tell. Okay, in terms of where the rest of us go, that kind of depends. Yeah, Christ is going to head down here in preparation for fighting off the Entombed later, because I want him to level up a little bit. Like, again, I'm not, like, completely keen on Christ getting a huge amount of experience here, because he'll be able to level up easily soon. That weird flourish just came in right as, as the battle theme was fading out. Runen will need to head towards the Seize Point, but, like, it's not imperative that he gets there quickly because of, you know, the fact that we're going to be spending a long time in this chapter. A very, very long time in this chapter. Don't want Zeke to get that guy, but if all you're concerned with is fighting enemies, Zeke can just cut through those forests, because I actually forgot about this before, but yeah, 1 movement cost on woods. Unlike most mounted units, who have like 3 or 4, and he only has 2 movement cost in Frontier and Sand. It's funny because, like, Shadow Knight, like, being part of the cult, is mainly an enemy class, and I just find that often enemy Shadow Knights don't really get the same benefits from that Zeke really does, because he I guess Enter will go with this group, and then Mel will go with... there aren't any healers in the middle. We do also have Katri as a healer, but she's kind of stuck over here for now. But, like, often the terrain on the maps where you fight enemy Shadow Knights tends to, like, I don't know, there's not really a lot of forests. Welcome to Zombie Slap Fights, the most exciting thing of the century! Yeah, even the zombies get negatively affected by swamps, which is, like, yeah, they, the damage is a little bit random. I don't like the fact that you went on top of that chest. Although I don't think, like, I know that in some games chests give a lot of evasion, but they don't in this one. Oh yeah, like, that cliff is not really a cliff. Things can just attack over it. It's kind of weird terrain. I don't think there's really many other maps like this one later in the game. Rear back and dodge, why won't you? I'm probably not going to summon again for the rest of the chapter because, like, not only do these guys waste time, but, well, you'll see. We're going to have another way of protecting ourselves very soon. So, while Mars is the Shrine of Water and is located in Welt, the Fire Shrine is associated with Salia, which is interesting because, Salia is a place that is mostly allied with, our nations, or historically has been, and it kind of bucks the trend of, in Fire Emblem, the nation associated with fire typically being the bad guys. Like, the Empire of Canaan, I'll just say right now, is associated with wind. And I don't think any wind nation has ever really been, apart from parts of Silesia and FE4, like, have been antagonistic in Fire Emblem. Yeah, that place's loot did not turn out well. Yeah, several of the nations were named after the daughters of Utona and Carlon, the original heroes. And they founded the 4 shrines. So, if Katri has that bracelet, then she must be part of the goddess's bloodline. And if you remember from the opening movie, exactly what kind of bloodline the goddesses is. And that was exactly what Holmes was trying to warn us about. What's the line from The Hobbit? That was no something, that was a dragon. Or was that a line from The Hobbit? And now, I can give Katri's bio. Or, as she is now, Neuron, Fire Incarnate. Katri lives a double life as a playable unit. On one hand, she fills a similar role to Enter, being a healer character who can't promote, but who has enough mastery at base to use Physic, and has very good magic and mastery growths, which are the only two stats she really cares about. In a way, she's even better than Enter because she starts with the Summon skill, which lets her use any summoning staff she has the mastery for, and with her growth rate, she'll have mastery for a lot of them, to summon expendable monsters that can be used as lures. Very useful in a lot of situations. But with a touch of her bracelet, Katri can transform into the Guardian Dragon Neuron, becoming essentially indestructible, though enemies will avoid attacking her on their phase, and having two defense-ignoring breath attacks. The first has low power but high accuracy and lower weight, and the second has a lot less accuracy but has much more power and hits in an area. Be warned though, this has friendly fire. Katri's actual stats and growths don't really matter when she transforms. From what I can tell, Neuron stats are fixed, but they don't really need to be any higher than they already are. While it might not seem like it now, after this chapter we will have full control over Katri in her transform state, as well as being able to transform and revert her at will by using the Ring of Salia. She'll revert automatically after a few turns, so it might be a good idea to periodically retreat her and manually untransform, just so awkward situations don't happen. Katri is going to be a forced deployment for a lot of chapters going forward, but she's one who pulls her weight very well. And she's uncontrollable. At least for now. Later on we will actually be able to control her in this form. How much accuracy do I have on you? 100. Also, yeah, these guys always have 10 HP. For some reason in Japanese they're called Glace Mummy. Like, Gure Sumami. And I don't know what that's supposed to be. Like, it can't be graceful mummy. I don't know if it was supposed to be Great Mummy or something, because Entombed are called mummies in the Japanese versions of the various Fire Emblem games. And yeah, Revenants are just called Zombie. So yeah, Zombie and Mummy. I guess they just thought Revenant and Entombed sounded cooler. But that explains why Entombed look like mummies in a lot of the games, because I kind of feel like the localization not calling them mummy in Sacred Stones made sense, because they don't look like mummies in that one. Like, they just look like Revenants, except their flesh is green instead of, like, blue. But in Gaiden and in some of the other games, they definitely look a lot more like mummies. Or should I... This is this dumb in-joke that only I know, but, the malicious mummy! It comes from a Sherlock Holmes, like a fairly bad Sherlock Holmes point-and-click game that's sort of hilariously bad that I saw, like, on YouTube a very, very long time ago, and I just thought was hilarious. That involves, like, a killer who dresses up like a mummy. It's weird. Although it is a common plot that criminals disguise themselves as a monster to, you know, get away with that. It's like, it's the whole Scooby-Doo thing. That's basically what's happening, except a bit darker, because Damame actually kills people there. Or at least he kills, like, I forget exactly, like, that game is weird. That game is very weird. There's a part where, like, there's an explosion, and it's a very, very strange game that, the only thing you need to know is that I have a Kothik Regus in black and white that I nicknamed Damame after that. Just the way that one of the characters pronounces it is just kind of silly sounding. But anyway, back to this. Okay, I'm going to keep raffing around here, because there's going to be reinforcements along the coast periodically, eventually. Now, Sasha... Okay, well, only one of you, possibly two of you, because, I don't know if her AI is programmed to use the area breath attack, but the area breath attack doesn't discriminate between, like, you know, it knows neither friend nor foe, only destruction, as a certain somebody would say. And, actually, like, maybe not that character specifically, but characters from that franchise are going to... I don't know if this is like a spoiler, but are going to actually cameo in the new Ratchet & Clank, which is pretty cool. Via, like, a weapon that, teleport in, like, characters from, like, alternate universes, and they just used a whole lot of other Sony IPs. Which is actually kind of a cool idea in a game that's based around alternate dimensions. Yeah, as of now, like, that's the new Ratchet & Clank, I'll just say, but, as of now, I don't want to date this video in case you're watching it in the future, but, as of when I'm recording this, the game, like, review copies seem to be out, but, the game itself doesn't come out for a little bit, so I don't have a PlayStation 5 either, and I've heard the PlayStation 5 is annoyingly hard to get hold of because scalpers grabbed a lot of, what is it with scalping in this day and age? Really, like, I mean, cards are one thing, because, like, scalpers are kind of always going to ask them, but scalping, and then scalping Amiibo I can also kind of see, but scalping consoles is just kind of a new low. Well, Katri didn't kill that? Really? Her breath is normally like a one-shot on most things. And also, I've never actually seen Dragon Katri go that way before. She usually attacks the zombies in the swamp. And I was kind of hoping she used the area breath attack to show that, yes, it does have friendly fire, so, I know that I'm kind of spoiling that Katri is going to be controllable in her dragon form eventually, but, that was a bit of a waste of a shield, but oh well. When you get control of Katri, don't, like, be careful where you aim her breath, because it does have friendly fire. I may have learned that the hard way, at least once. I do kind of like the way these guys just slowly creep up to you and do that double-handed slam attack. Now, apparently, Entombed always give exactly 80 experience in this game. Xeno's growths overall are very high, so he does tend to snowball a little bit, although he is a little low on health at this point. Like, his health's a bit lower than I think it should be. Can I get him? I think I actually can get... No, actually, I can't quite get into range of being healed by Mel. And now let's grab chest number 2 of many. Wing Potion, that's actually really good. That's a +3 to speed. Gonna have to think who to give that to. I vaguely thought maybe Raffin. I mean, Raffin's speed is good, but sometimes he needs a bit of help doubling things at this point. And this is the great thing about Pegasus Knights. They can fly over swamps unimpeded, which is probably why Celica's route in... I mean, I don't know if I should even pylum this guy or not. I mean, I will one-shot and I do double, so I'll only be using one use of it anyway. Pylums only have 7 weight compared to Javelin's 10, and they're stronger. But yeah, Celica's route in Gaiden gave you a lot of Pegasus Knights. And speaking of Pegasus Knights, Sasha's speed is complete overkill. And it's going to continue to be overkill. She is, like, that's the thing, so her strength is not good, but at the same time, she's pretty much guaranteed to double with almost any weapon, because her speed is just that high. And while we're, you know, going through this chapter, and there's, like, I don't know, this chapter's probably going to be a chapter for tangents, because it goes on for ages, and the enemies are not very interesting to talk about. They're all really weak and easy, and if you have a lot of flyers, you can just sweep through a lot of the map and take them out early. So I actually do like the way that this game handles weight. Making it so that there's, like, no offset for weight or anything, it's just, like, your speed minus the weapon's weight. That's how it was handled in I think, Fire Emblem 4, and I think... Oh, no, FE5 had build, which, yeah, is... I don't know if any of the fan translations changed that to Con or not. 9 strength at this point on Vega is actually kind of lucky. So, yeah, he's doing pretty well for me, and I mean, considering how good he usually is, that's no mean feat. I'm gonna put you guys over there, because that's the wrong button. Yeah, let's just check out the map here. There's not a lot of enemies left over. Because I probably talked about what I feel about the different weight systems in Fire Emblem before. I don't like how part of Katri's head gets cut off there, because the sprite is just going a little bit too big for, like, one tile. Yeah, I feel like I've accomplished a lot in only 3 turns here. But I really don't like the con system for weight. I just feel like often the con system is kind of biased to making good characters better and bad characters even worse, because it tends to be biased towards pre-promotes, and I guess the idea was that they wouldn't have as high raw stats, but then people found out that high raw stats don't matter that much, and then pre-promotes were just the best overall at everything. And Katri's reverting. So she reverts after a few turns, but from now on, you can actually manually have her use the Ring of Salia to turn into a dragon. She can talk to Xeno as well, and I think Runen can talk to Xeno. Okay, I thought he could talk to Katri. Can Uni talk to anyone? No. I guess I'm just going to bring Katri down here, just so I can, yeah, use the Ring of Salia to turn into a dragon again. Or again, Neuron, because the dragon forms in this game have their own names. And they kind of have their own separate, like, their own identities outside of the people who host them. Which is kind of why Neuron was uncontrollable there. But yeah, back to the con system. So, yeah, I just, like, and then, like, characters like Nino, or, like, sort of, you know, petite female characters tend to have bad con, and they're usually difficult to train anyway, and it's just like, the idea is they have better speed to compensate, but usually that doesn't matter because they have other issues, so it's just like, it definitely feels like it makes already bad characters worse and already good characters better. And then you have the strength offset system in Path of Radiance, which I think was a good idea in theory, but in practice, weapon weights needed to be a lot higher because, yeah. Like, once you got anything above 10 strength, weight just didn't matter for physical attackers at all. On the other hand, weight, just, like, magic users would suffer from weight for the whole game because they just would never have good strength stats, except, like, Ileana and Tormod, who I think have surprisingly. It was mostly just Soren. Soren is built like an absolute twig and has basically no strength, but yeah, that was always just kind of annoying how, like, they tried to have some, like, you know, controllable stat to offset weight, but at the same time it means that, again, physical attackers just never need to worry about weight again once they're past any reasonable level. So they probably should have, like, raised the weight of weapons, but at the same time, that probably would have resulted in the early game being a lot harder, because basic weapons would be really heavy, and that would just slow you down so much when your strength stats were low. Three Houses does do it interestingly, where there is like strength does offset weight, but it's something like strength over 4. I can't really remember much about the formulas. I haven't really. I'll need to look into that eventually. Part of the reason why I've refrained from doing any kind of, well, there are two reasons why I've refrained from doing an in-depth walkthrough of Three Houses, and I probably want to wait until the honeymoon period for the game is well and truly over. I want to wait for a bit, because of, you know, stuff. Basically, I was waiting until more of the game was researched and more of the formulas were known. Like, for example, the greenhouse. The greenhouse is just kind of... apparently the greenhouse mechanics are more complicated than most of the combat mechanics in that game. But yeah, the other reason why is that I just, anyway, certain aspects of Three Houses Grey Morality just, get me pretty riled up, and I just don't want to experience that again anytime soon. But that's all I'll say about that. For now, we have pirates. The Esora pirates are back! Unfortunately, I foresaw their arrival, and I put Raffin and Zeeg, and, you know, Vega, that's the name, I put him in range too, so, they're all gonna die horribly.